Hello, my Raptor fans. I'm not gonna kick you to the post game right after the Raptors victory. I'm gonna kick you to the post game.
With that yes to credit from Capital One, I was able to rebuild my life the way that I want. I'm proud that I can financially support myself.
What is about with this team with the fourth quarter play and fourth quarter relay rallies, and what gets in you guys?
I think we've been in a lot of the same positions this year where we've given up in those situations and, kind of let the game get away from us. So I think we're learning and we're growing as a team. So, and then you have Scotty. Scotty just gets to another gear, him and BI in that fourth quarter. So just following them in their lead, we kind of was able to push back.
Even though they didn't shoot the ball very well tonight, any of the big threes, Emmanuel, Scotty, or Brandon, you guys still went to them in the fourth quarter. Is that just a trust thing with them?
I mean, if you look at our entire season down the stretch, BI's been our guy at the end of the games, and then Scotty has just, been that guy on both sides of the ball towards the end of the game. So I think we have so much trust and belief in them that, when we do get down to those stretches, the ball has to be in their hands, whether it's going to be him scoring or him playmaking.
What is it about the defense specifically in the fourth quarter? I mean, that was a big part of the comeback last night, a big part of the comeback tonight. It's just kind of the sense of urgency that kicks in on that end of the floor?
Yeah, of course. We're trying to fight back into it. And then you got guys like Colin who had some really big defensive plays at the end. And then a guy like Scotty who's supposed to be in the Defensive Player of the Year talks. I'm really trying to push that because we're out there, and I have so much confidence just because a guy like that is behind me. So towards the end of the game, when he's guarding Paolo and he's the guy up there pressuring, I feel really confident in, the outcome.
What about you? What about your role in these games, and are you feeling more comfortable leading the team on the court in these circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, you just try to find the hot hand. I think BI hit a couple two shots, so we tried to go back to him, and then they switched up the matchup, and then we tried to play a little bit of two-man game with me and Scotty, and they have so much gravity that it opened up me a lot tonight. Same with Cole, kind of opened up him a lot because they have so much gravity. So I think it's easier for us, and it's getting way more comfortable because they're so worried about those two guys.
What have you learned about Colin in this first third of the year?
He's a really tough kid. He's coming off of a little bit of a sickness. He kind of shook it off, still was able to go out there, jump as high as he can, and try to go get some blocks, go get some really big rebounds. And just all in all, his voice has been really, really projecting, and he's been talking a lot more on defense. So I think he's just tough, hard-nosed, and he's figuring out the ins and outs of the NBA a little bit.
Probably barely had a chance to talk to Mo since he got here last night. He got on the floor briefly in the first half. How much are you looking forward to having another big body out there, a rim protector out there, especially with Yak out for a little bit?
I mean, I think it'll be great. I think we just gotta, help Mo a little bit with the ins and outs of the defense and the offense. But his skill set and what he brings, and I think he could really help us. His motor gets going. I've seen it firsthand. He went to UT. I'm an Austin kid, so I've seen Mo firsthand and what he can accomplish and what he can do. So I'm excited to play with him.
It's rare for young guys to change the game itself, like how it's being played when they're on there. You do that. Colin does that as well. How does Colin actually change how everyone else plays around him outside of himself?
He brings so much versatility. You can put him on the big and then switch 1 through 5. You can put him in coverage and have him protect the rim. You can do a lot of things with his versatility that you can also do with Scotty. So I think when having those two guys out there, it really helps because either one of them can protect the back line or be on the front line and be your best defender any given night.
Well, when you look at the overall contributions of the bench group, does it give you kind of added satisfaction to push you guys into a win?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was a game that Grady needed. And he really helped us in that first half and kind of carried the scoring load. And it was awesome to see him kind of get into a groove. And then, just Jacoby's defense towards the end of that game. So I think the bench unit is coming along. And, I think we're just growing as the season grows. So we're not trying to stay too high, trying to stay too low, just trying to grow and learn from our mistakes.
Colin, did you do that on that block shot where it looked like you hit your head?
No. I fell. and I fell and landed on it, but it's fine.
How are you feeling? We know you've been sick a little bit. How did you find the energy to be as active as you were on the boards?
I don't know. To be honest, that first half I was feeling it for sure. Obviously, this is my first game in 5 days, so it wasn't easy. Especially not really having much prep for it. I've been quarantining from the team, so it's been a struggle. But found the energy later in the second quarter, and I just got my win back going in for the rest of the game. And I feel like just had to figure out how to bring something to the team. If it was just my rebounding, something like that, just make sure we can come get this win.
Just offensive rebounding a focus for you. You've had some really big numbers on that in the last few games.
I think it's just getting possessions for the team. I try to replicate good games. Obviously, the Miami game was really good offensive rebounding, so just try to replicate that and do the same thing over and over again.
Early in the season when you guys played Houston, I remember you came in here after what's his name? Steven Adams. Yeah, you know, you're like, wow, that guy's crazy strong. You've done that a couple of games recently to the other team. You had the same number of offensive rebounds that he had against you. What's changed for you since then?
Probably I gained muscle. Shit, that's pretty much it.
Can you do a lot of that in the season?
What, gain muscle?
Yeah.
Why can't you?
Well, you're running so much. Could you lose weight?
No. I don't lose weight. I stay pretty consistent. I'm pretty consistent with my with getting stronger. I still want to gain muscle, gain weight, stuff like that. So my diet never slips. Just stay on top of everything physically, so I can be the best of my ability.
As a star in college, you know every game you're getting 30 plus minutes probably. What have you learned over the course of the start of the season about sort of finding your way into games, sort of feeling out what the team needs and getting into the game that way?
It's really just never getting comfortable. Coach made us tell me about getting comfortable and thinking that you're in a secure spot, but it's just not like that. So never get comfortable if you have a good game or if you have good stints. Always come in and try to be the best and be the reason why they picked you up and stuff like that. So just being consistent with everything that I do, have a mellow, attitude towards everything, and just be myself. Yeah.
You, Sandro, and Scotty have absorbed a lot of the minutes at the 5 this year with Yak being out. How much do you think it'll help to have another 7-footer as a depth piece that can
tremendously
rebound and block shots?
Tremendously. That's everybody knows that we needed that. We've been running a lot of small ball 5, especially with Yak being out. It's been just me, Sandro, Scott. So definitely having somebody else to protect the paint, get more rebounds, something that we really need.
My relationship with credit was not the greatest. With that yes to credit from Capital One and making payments on time, I was able to get a car loan. Having my car helps me be available to my loved ones.
Those young players wouldn't give it up, right? Chad and Walter and Colin played real tough down there.
I mean, our second unit guys coming off the bench, Colin, Jamal, Grady, Jacoby, they did an outstanding job. It was great to see their energy and the force, how they played, how they competed. We were down 20, and it was about character. Are we gonna try to come back after big, losing by 20, but also more importantly, like we were shooting like 20% start of the game, and we just kept believing and we kept competing, and that's what it's really what it matters. So our second unit, kudos to all of those guys. They did an outstanding job.
It's sort of the hallmark of young players to, be inconsistent, and, a lot of those guys who won you the game or helped you win tonight have had inconsistent years. What keeps you hoping and believing in that group to give moments like tonight?
First of all, like those guys, they're built of special cloth. They're built of resiliency, They're really putting a lot of work. Doesn't matter like we win, we lose, we're up, we're down. Does not really matter what kind of mood we are. They're extremely professional. They're doing a really good job of preparing for each game, and they just keep going forward. You know, I love how fearless they are. I love how together they play, and that's something that's very, very important for young players to learn early in their careers in NBA, that you got to bring energy every single night is very, very important.
You held these guys to 12 points in the fourth quarter, obviously a great
Not
defensive...
me, our team.
Your team. You had something to do with it, but obviously a great defensive effort in the fourth quarter and overtime last night as well. What are you seeing defensively towards the end of these games that maybe you're not seeing as much of earlier in the game?
And it's first of all, it's a long game, and what I see amazing hunger from this group that they want to win the game. They want to give it all they have, you know, and we gave all we got tonight. We shot 23% from three-point line, 39% from the field, and we found a way to win the game. And on nights like this, when the shot is not falling, it has to be defense, you know. And we were talking a lot about those guys, but also starters, like they did a really good job there for the majority of the game. On defensive end, just really, you know, making it really hard on them and playing smart down the stretch.
What is Colin Boyle's knack on the offensive boards? He had 9 the other night, I think 7 tonight. What does he bring that he's able to generate those chances?
He's just like every time when he's around the rim, he has a great feel where to go. He's working really hard to position himself in a position where he can go and get those rebounds. And he's strong, he's athletic, he has a great desire to go get those. And, you know, those 7 offensive boards, but also the 2 huge block shots that he had in the second half, like they set a tone for us.
Scotty's up to 83% now from the free throw line and 9 of 10 in clutch time. For a guy who was a solid but not great free throw shooter early in his career, how impressed have you been by his ability to step up and make those shots in those big moments?
Scotty's a winner, so whatever he's gonna take to help team to win the game, he's gonna do that. And obviously, yesterday he played heavy minutes. Tonight again, he played 37 minutes, but he gave it all. He gave it. He's giving it every single night. That's why he's an all-star. That's why he's a winning player. That's why this guy deserves much more recognition than he's getting.
Why wasn't Quickly on the floor at the end of the game?
Because Jamal Shead was on the floor instead of him.
At Capital One, we're here for Canadians. For the over 4 million who already got a yes to a credit card, and for those who are ready for a win, this is the season to get your yes. Visit CapitalOne.ca/yes today. Terms and conditions